What's going on? Hello, happy Sunday. It is Sunday indeed. It is the first NFL Sunday for the Kansas City Chiefs. How about that? So what happens when you win a lot of Super Bowls and you keep starting the season on a Thursday rather than a Sunday. Obviously, a big game today. The Chiefs and the Bengals. This massive rivalry here between the four-time Super Bowl champions and the ringless Bengals. We're here to talk about that. Yes, obviously that has nothing to do with today, but that's always fun to throw out there because we know Bengals fans can't stand hearing that because that's just something they get upset about. I don't know why. I can't comprehend why. Because, I mean, they brag about head-to-head record, so why not brag about championships, the things that actually matter, right? All right. Oh, look at Alex Smith talking to Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes right there. That's pretty cool. Oh, man. So 56 touchdowns between Mahomes and Kelce since 2018, the most in the NFL. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. I see a lot of you guys starting to come in here. How are you guys? Happy Sunday. Good morning. Good afternoon for those of you living in the good old Eastern time zone area. Hope you're all having a good Sunday so far. I am. Let's talk about this Chiefs and Bengals game, I should say, rather, because I've got a lot of high expectations from the Chiefs in this one here. If you guys have been paying attention to the betting lines this week, this opened up where the Chiefs were 6-point favorites. Then it dropped to 5 points. Then the line went back up to 6. And this morning it's went up to 6.5. So a lot of people definitely feel pretty good about the Chiefs in this one here. So, I'm pretty confident. I'm really confident. I think out of like a lot of games in my time, like podcasting, blogging about the Chiefs, this is like the one where I just feel the most optimistic about the Chiefs in a game here. Because when you look at the Bengals, and I said this last year about this team when the Chiefs were getting ready to play the Bengals don't have no defense. And if the Chiefs offense was not as anemic as it was last year going into that week 17 game, week 17, 16, I can't remember what it was, then I think the Chiefs would have scored a lot more points. Keep in mind, that was an 8-point game right there. The Chiefs won 25-17, I think it was. Bengals were up 17-7 on the Chiefs, and I don't care who was starting at quarterback, whether it was their backup or whoever. You cannot be blowing 10-point leads ever in the NFL, especially on the road or at home, wherever. You can't be doing that kind of thing. And the Chiefs found a way to overcome that. No, it wasn't the prettiest of wins. It took 6 Harrison Butker field goals, but you found a way to win, and that's all that matters. And that was the same game where the Chiefs clinched that playoff spot and won the AFC West and eliminated the Bengals from playoff contention at the same time, ending their season 2 seasons in a row. Obviously, you're not going to end anyone's season this early in the year, but I think there are a lot of people who are ready to write off the Bengals even early, depending on how big of a beatdown this could be. I'm expecting a big beatdown. For many reasons. I mentioned the Bengals defense. Let's start there because Isaiah Pacheco's best game in the NFL so far was against Cincinnati last year, and their atrocious defense that honestly could not tackle to save their life. The Cincinnati Bengals defense is essentially Trey Hendrickson and Dan Sorensen. That's what the Bengals defense is. If I had to explain it to a Chiefs fan that only follows the Chiefs closely and doesn't follow any of the other 31 teams, that's how I would describe it, is Trey Hendrickson and Dan Sorensen. That is the Cincinnati Bengals defense. The Bengals defense could not tackle last year. They still can't tackle. They looked atrocious against Ramondre Stevenson. And again, all respect to Ramondre Stevenson, that's not a running back anybody ever talks about. Nobody talks about, wanting to place a big bet on Ramondre Stevenson to rush for 100 yards in a game. No one's talking about wanting Ramondre Stevenson on their fantasy football team. I'd love to know the percentage of people that started Ramondre Stevenson on their fantasy football teams last week. This guy just ran all over the Bengals, and the Bengals had no answer for it. No one on the Bengals, Dax Hill couldn't tackle, CTV couldn't tackle, and he's the one doing some talking this week, which I think is very interesting coming from him. This Bengals defense is not very good. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, they really do not have anyone. That's the only concern I have, and that's the only way I think the Bengals could make a game out of this, is if Trey Hendrickson can have the best game of his career against this Chiefs offensive line, which doesn't have, the best offensive tackles on display. Jawan Taylor, he's kind of up and down. Yeah, the penalties are a thing, but also with him specifically, his win block percentage can also, it can be all over the place. One game, complete opposite the next game. It's always weird with him sometimes. And then you have Kingsley Suamataia on the other side, who kind of had a rough go at it, had some good moments, but also had some bad moments as well. So I'm really curious to see that battle right there between Hendrickson and Suamataia. Hendrickson got a strip sack on Mahomes last year when Hendrickson was going up against Wanya Morris. So what can Kingsley Suamataia do in this game that Wanya Morris was not able to do? Are we going to see any tight end help from any of the guys like Jared Wiley, Noah Gray, even Travis Kelce, or if you have Samaje Perine kind of doing what Jerick McKinnon did for Orlando Brown a couple years back, where he would serve as that last line of defense right there in case Orlando Brown got beat, which unfortunately happened a lot for Orlando Brown during his time in Kansas City, and also happening in Cincinnati as well. So that's the one only concern I have with the Bengals defense is Trey Hendrickson. So if the Chiefs can find a way to give Kingsley Suamataia some help there, and I think you have to. I mean, listen, this kid's a rookie going up against an elite pass rusher. Then I think in general the Chiefs will be just fine in this game when it comes to handling that Bengals defense. Because I mean, what do the Bengals defense have that scares you? They played Jacoby Brissett, who's going to eventually get pulled for Drake May this year. That's who you lost to. Yeah, Joe Burrow had more yards. What was it, 21 of 26 or 27 for 100 and some yards? It's not really good if you're Joe Burrow. I don't think that's the standard for Joe Burrow. Yes, I do agree there is an issue with his wrist right now, and that definitely is getting a lot of discussion this week. But, to not be able to throw the ball down the field almost hardly ever the entire game, I feel pretty good about what the Chiefs defense can do. That Bengals offense, specifically the offensive line, was absolutely abysmal. Here's the crazy part. Orlando Brown was probably their best offensive lineman last week. If Orlando Brown is your best offensive lineman, you are in serious trouble. Trent Brown got his ass kicked last week by the Patriots. Alex Kappa, the right guard, he absolutely got destroyed by the Patriots' interior defensive line, which hardly even exists in New England. By the way, this is a Patriots team that traded their best player before the season, Matthew Judon. So the Patriots can do that without Matthew Judon. What can they do in this game? The Chiefs, that is, what can they do against a guy like Joe Burrow, who will take advantage of a hole, and the Patriots gave him a couple of those. But man, I think in general, I'm expecting a lot more from the Chiefs. Listen, I know the Chiefs did not look great defensively last week, though I will give them credit. Before halftime and before the end of regulation, they kept the Ravens out of the end zone. As difficult as Lamar Jackson gave the Chiefs last week, the Chiefs found a way before halftime and the end of regulation to keep the Ravens out of the end zone. I think that was the biggest difference maker last week. And look, I know Lamar Jackson, there are so many opinions about the guy. It's never easy defending Lamar Jackson. It is never easy to defend that guy. And you're not defending Lamar Jackson in this game. You're defending a guy in Joe Burrow who, let me quickly see here. I think we got a little bit of an update. They're saying T. Higgins not expected to play. Yeah, he was ruled as doubtful, but Zach Taylor he was not ready to rule him out completely just yet. So we'll see. We'll see for sure approximately 90 minutes before kickoff. So approximately 2 o'clock, 2:05 is when we're going to find out. By the way, for those of you in the chat, let me know your score prediction for this game. I would love to know what your guys' score prediction is, and I'll give you guys mine as well. But going back to what I was talking about with the Bengals, with the Bengals defense there. I'm sorry, the Chiefs defense, excuse me. Nick Bolton got to play a better game. And again, Lamar Jackson, just not the easiest guy. And I haven't even mentioned this and kind of forgot about it. Nick Bolton's elbow injury. How serious is that? Because that is something he is playing through right now. So I'm really curious to see how Tranquil and Bolton do. Leo Chenal was awesome last week. By far, in my opinion, probably the best defensive player you had. Yeah, McDuffie's great. Chris Jones is great. George Karlaftis is great. And I think all three of those guys did a lot of great things last week. But Leo Chenal, I thought, was the hero of last week's game, preventing that touchdown pass, batting that, and also not letting Lamar Jackson be able to just run into the end zone whenever the Ravens had the ball in the red zone. So I think Chenal, I'm really curious to see what he does against a guy like Joe Burrow, who does scramble at times, but obviously is not even close to Lamar Jackson in that category. So the Chiefs definitely can take advantage of that. And another thing the Chiefs have got to take advantage of, assuming if T. Higgins does not play, which it seems like it's going in that direction, Jamar Chase is your only viable. I mean, who's your most reliable guy? Yoshi Vosh, Irwin, Gesicki. I don't think Tanner Hudson's going to play, but man, I mean, he definitely hurt the Bengals last week. Gesicki with that drop as well. Apparently, that was a catch. I don't really know. I mean, I saw him lose control of the ball on his way down, so that's definitely not a catch. And even Bengals fans, or even the team, I mean, they weren't even pushing back against that. Everyone thought that was a drop. So I'm kind of surprised the league said otherwise, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, who do you have? Zach Moss? That guy is replacing the running back they had last year. I can't recall his name. Joe Mixon. That's who you're replacing Joe Mixon with, Zach Moss. Good luck with that. I think this Chiefs defense is going to be much better this week. I'm excited to see Karlaftis and Jones. Karlaftis is going to be going up against Trent Brown. And listen, I don't care if it was Amarius Mims or Trent Brown. Amarius Mims, Karlaftis was going to feast either way. Amarius Mims, obviously a rookie dealing with an injury right now. I saw a few mock drafts with the Chiefs wanting to get him. I was like, oh, please no. Thankfully, he did not come to Kansas City. And then you have Chris Jones going up against Alex Kappa, who, again, just got rocked by the Patriots last week. And then you also have Ted Karras, who is a below-average center there. Again, I mean, Orlando Brown, not that great, but that is their best offensive lineman. Joe Burrow is in trouble today. Joe Burrow 100% is in trouble today. So thoughts and prayers to the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a really long day for that Bengals offensive line. I'm more concerned about the Bengals offense than I am the Bengals defense for their sake. I mean, the defense, they can find a way to make a game out of it if Trey Hendrickson has the best game of his life. But this is going to be one of those rare games where I think the Chiefs are going to go run heavy. They have not ran the ball 40 times in a game since 2020. They did it twice that season, once against the Bills in October, and then 2 months later in December against the Saints. So we have not seen the Chiefs run the ball 40 plus times in a game since 2020. It would not shock me one bit if they did that today. Let Pacheco cook, man. He is going to feast today. I'm excited to see what Pacheco's going to do. Pacheco's best game rushing performance and total yards was against the Bengals last year. So I expect him to do it again. And hey, you know, for a team that, you know, still does a lot of the talking, why not have their former player do it against them again? Samaje Perine. I expect Carson Steele to get a couple of carries as well. I think Mahomes will scramble a couple of times. I also think that because of the talking from Cam Taylor-Britt with Xavier Worthy, I think Andy Reid's going to be pretty petty and let him get a jet sweep or a reverse or something in this one. I certainly expect that in this game. So I am very excited to see how things go today. Bob says we need an old fashioned ass kicker. Yes. Hell yes. Pound the steel today. I'm expecting it. I think he'll get a few. What's up, Alonda? Let's get this spammer out of here. I love serious question. All these people who are like spamming, they're like, "Oh, I love God. I'm going to bless 5 people. Just comment help." Who believes that shit? I mean, unfortunately, some people do, but I guess that's like what they live for. They hope that there's that one person. Lego my ego. Waffle MOD here. I love it. Let's go. Do we think Jamar will leave the Bengals? Okay, so this is in response to the report that came out last night that he said that Adam Schefter said that he doesn't want to negotiate anymore and is going to do it after the season. Dude, you have 2 years left on your deal. Rookies have to deal with this kind of thing. Get over it. You're on a rookie contract. You're not anyone special. Patrick Mahomes had to play on a rookie deal. Your teammate Joe Burrow has had to play on a rookie deal. Like, get over it. I mean, it's just, I think, listen, he's a great wide receiver. No one's saying otherwise, but let me just say this. What should the Bengals really do? Should they pay Jamar Chase? I think the obvious answer is yes. But for whatever reason, they're really weird about how they want to spend their money. I mean, it's not like the salary cap goes straight to the owner's pocket. It's not how that works. But if the Bengals really want to be careful with how they spend their money, they need an offensive line and they need a defense. They invested a lot this past offseason in their offensive line, and I know it's just one game, but so far in one game, it is absolutely ugly. Again, Orlando Brown was your best player, and he wasn't even that good last week. The right side of that Bengals offensive line, I mean, seriously, is a liability to Joe Burrow. No Joe Mixon, no T. Higgins. Chief D is also better and more weapons on offense. Yeah. I mean, this is a much different game than last year, too. But we know they're going to complain about that. They'll say that the refs made T. Higgins inactive or some shit like that. All right. I am going with 45-17. That is my score prediction. Let's see what everyone has to say here. Jensen says 24-14. Scott says 23-17. Serena says 34-17. Alonda says 28-17. Doug has a really good point here. I haven't even talked about this really. Andy Reid with extra time to prepare coming off the mini bye. Yeah, that can never be forgotten about. Rochelle going a little bit of a closer score, 28-21. Bob says 31-17. Doug says 35-10. Yeah, I said this earlier this week, and I'll say it again. I think Trent McDuffie's getting his first career interception today. I think it's happening today. Is it going to be Joe Burrow or Jake Browning? That I don't know. 24-14 from John. 35-10 from Layla. I'm excited to see him. I've been praising this guy. I've been hyping him up all off season. So I'm excited to see him have the game he had last week, and I hope he continues that into week 2 and beyond. Yeah, that's probably going to happen a lot. It would not shock me if they got him 5 times today. Yeah, I do expect. What did the Chiefs get last year on Browning? 6? And again, the offensive line is not even that good. Like, they spent all of that trying to upgrade it. It just was not good. Pat scrambles for 50 today. I took plus 25 on my bet today. Plus 50. That might be a bit much there, but it would not surprise me entirely. Yeah, a little. Maybe it'll surprise me just a little bit. I want the Chiefs to bless us with a win. Yeah, that's what the Spanish should be saying. Do you think we see more of Carson Steele today? A little bit more. Maybe not too much, but I think you'll see him get a couple of carries in this one. Obviously, like what he did was in the preseason, and again, that's great. It is a preseason, though. I mean, who had a great preseason last year? Zach Wilson. How's he doing? And again, don't get me wrong. I think Carson Steele deserves to be on this team. I just don't know how much of that from the preseason he can carry over, but I guess we'll see. I mean, if he can replicate what he did in the preseason, I suppose this game he could do it because, again, they can't tackle. I remember when I was in high school, I was filming. The coaches would allow us to film practice and everything for a short period of time. And I was filming our high school's practice once. The first 20 minutes, and the coach just yelled at the team at one point. He was just trying to talk to them before they went on to do group drills and everything. He goes, "If you can't fucking tackle, then you got to go play for a different high school." I'm like, Jesus, I got all that on video, but we could not air that, obviously. John says Cincinnati will be fired out. This is a must-win game for both teams, but I think KC will win and cover the spread and the over. The over, maybe they could do it all by themselves. What is it? What was the over? Last I checked, it was 48. Okay, they might need a little bit of help from the Bengals on the over, but would not surprise me entirely if they did it alone. See, I just don't get it with these players. Do you have to be the highest paid player? I mean, someone's going to break that record eventually. Look at Mahomes. I don't know. It's just weird to me. Michael says 35-10. Who's better, a depleted Bengals or Bills, or now Bengals? I mean, listen, I was doubting the Bills coming into the season, and again, I know it's early, but for a team that had a lot of turnover and even lost Stephon Diggs, they looked good. They've looked good so far. The first half of that Week 1 Cardinals game, not so nice, but I mean, I can't really say much about the Bills right now. I think they're a top 10 team at the moment. 38-14. Raymond says 28-17. Oh, I almost blocked Logan. That's not good. You're going with the same score as me, Elena. Okay, I like it. 34-24, 21-10, 31-20. Okay. So a lot of people think the Chiefs are going to score in the 30s. Todd thinks the Chiefs are scoring 100. Let's go. Let's make it happen, Todd. 100. Let's do it. 100 tacos. Free tacos for everyone in attendance. Just take your mobile ticket to a local Taco Bell, and you will win a free taco. That's what we're doing. Yeah, it is scary that Orlando Brown Jr. is their best offensive lineman, and he fell on Joe Burrow last week, which, not the first time he's fell on Joe Burrow. Did Orlando Brown ever fall on Patrick Mahomes? I don't think he ever did. I think he just got beat a lot. But yeah, that is pretty scary that he is their best offensive lineman. And again, all of that money they've spent on their offensive line last year with Brown and this year with some of these veterans, not looking good. Is Tua going to retire? We talked about this a little bit on the Red Friday live chat. So reports are no. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say should someone retire. That's not my decision. I mean, do I think there's consideration about it? Sure. When you have that many concussions, you got to think about, life beyond football. And he does have guaranteed money coming in if he chooses to retire today. But I'm not going to make that decision. I just don't. I mentioned this before. I went to KU. Some of you guys like that. Some of you guys probably don't. But here's my point. Obviously, KU very passionate when it comes to basketball because the basketball program's always been successful over the years. But KU's had a lot of one and dones because they've had a lot of guys come in, and with the talent, they go to the pros. Understandably so. But I hear a lot of KU fans. I was a senior when Andrew Wiggins and Joel Embiid were there. Obviously, they were only there for 1 year. And so many KU fans were saying, oh, well, Wiggins and Embiid, they need to stay 1 more year. It'll help them. Really? Who are you? Are you a basketball scout? Have you not seen every single mock draft that exists that has those two going in the top 5 and they end up being 1 and 3? Like, why are we speaking for someone if they should retire or if they should go pro or stay in college 1 more? I just don't like when other people have that opinion. I really don't. Unless you are a basketball scout and you actually know these things, like, oh, okay, sure, then give me your answer. But if you're a fan or just a member of the media that, you don't know these things, the intricacies of these kinds of things, the machinations, don't talk about someone retiring or any of that stuff. The whole Tua retirement conversation by a lot of people, it's just been kind of weird to me. I know I'm probably the only one who thinks that, but I don't know. It's just, it's weird. I got the Broncos game. Sorry, Scott. Yeah, I mean, the best you can hope for is someone blows out the other person and they can switch to a more competitive game. That's what CBS and Fox do. Unfortunately, for all of you that live outside of Kansas City and Cincinnati, you're probably going to miss the fourth quarter because they are going to switch to a more competitive game. I mean, 100% they will. I think Samaje Perine will get some touches in this game. 100%. I mean, that dude's a physical runner too. So I think he'll definitely get involved in this game. Somewhere between 5 to 10, for sure. Oh, okay, Gail. Okay. Yeah, you sure had New England's number last week, and you guys are the team to beat in the AFC. Yeah. Okay. What's that gift? Sure, Jan. Ben says 30-17. Great. Yeah, a lot of people think the Chiefs are going to score in the high 20s or in the 30s, and that Cincinnati's not going to be scoring much. Was Buffalo playing that good or Miami playing that bad? Miami looked bad on Thursday, but Tyreek Hill looked gassed. Look, I know he's had a crazy week, but I don't know. I've never seen Tyreek Hill look like that. And obviously, we've watched Tyreek Hill very closely for so many years. That dude does not get tired. He looked gassed. And it wasn't just my opinion. Whenever, something crazy happens from a game, I always like to turn on like their local radio station just to hear what people are saying after the game. And they said the exact same thing in Miami on their local sports talk station. I'm like, man, everyone just feels weird about the Dolphins. So, look, here's a weird thing about the Dolphins. When you consider the two games so far this year and last year, and I know week one, no one's winning in week one. No one has a winning record. But Miami has not beaten a team with a winning record except for the Dallas Cowboys in late December last year. And that's a team that, scored a bunch of points early on in the season last year. I still remember when they scored, 70 or 60 on the Broncos, and the Broncos beat the Chiefs a week or two later. And then the Chiefs were getting ready to play the Dolphins after losing to the Broncos. Chiefs and Dolphins in Germany, that is, after the Chiefs had just lost to the Broncos. A lot of people were doing the whole, Team A beat Team B, Team B beat Team C, so therefore Team A is going to beat Team C. Like, everyone thought that the Dolphins were just going to wipe out the Chiefs in that Germany game, and ended up being the complete opposite. They played twice. Listen, say what you want about the cold in Kansas City and how Miami had to overcome that. Well, you played a neutral site game last year in Germany and you looked awful. You played at home against the Bills last year in a game where the number 2 seed was on the line, number 2 or number 3, I can't remember which. And then this week on Thursday night, again, in your own home where the weather's great. The weather's great just essentially everywhere right now in September. And that's how Miami looked to start the first 2 games. I mean, it has not been a good look for Miami. Outside of the second half of that Jaguars game, they have not looked very good. How many yards does Pacheco have? On my bet, I went with 100 plus. So I think he's going over. What's the overall under on him? I think it was 68.5. I took the over on that. Easiest over for me. Paramount Plus, I think it depends on where you live, but don't quote me on that. But check for yourselves if you have Paramount Plus. I instead of showing your comment, I almost clicked on the button next to it. So yeah, definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, I think the Bills are looking a lot better than what a lot of people were expecting from them. So credit to them. And I think, when you hear all that stuff, you get tired of the noise and everything. So yeah, I think 4 or 5 in his career so far. It's not good, Timothy. No, not for sure not. Was Mike McDaniel high last night when he talked to the media about Tua? I thought he was. I don't know about that. I think he always just kind of looks like that. P. Ryan 75 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, dang. Michael, I'm going to guess you have him on your fantasy team. Getting arrested before the game more amount. There was a Miami Dolphins fan that had a sign before Thursday Night Football. It said, "Dolphins players, please slow down." And it was it looked like the exact spot where Tyreek Hill got arrested. Well, not arrested, but detained. That gave me a good laugh. Okay, so a lot of people are saying check Paramount Plus. Okay, so I have Sunday Ticket, so I don't ever have to check Paramount. I use Paramount Plus for non NFL reasons, non NFL purposes. But if you guys are saying that, then I'll take your word for it. So I apologize, whoever was asking, because they said they have the Broncos game in their area. Yeah, there you go. By the way, I actually really want to see that Steelers Broncos game. I'm very curious as to what kind of reception Russell Wilson's going to get, but obviously I'm going to be focused on the Chiefs game. I mean, I'll pay attention to like probably the first few minutes of that Broncos game because I'm really curious to see how Russell's going to be treated over there. Usually it's boos. I mean, Tom Brady got booed on his way when he came back to New England, which I thought was absolutely dumb. Listen, I remember when Trent Green was booed for a preseason game here after the Chiefs traded him. I did not like that. I remember the Chiefs booed Dexter McCluster. I mean, not that Dexter McCluster won anything significant with the Chiefs, but he, in all of my years of coming across Chiefs players in the locker room and also in public, Dexter McCluster might be one of the nicest guys I have ever come across. And I heard a lot of stories from a lot of other people who've come across Dexter McCluster in public at basketball games, WWE events, KU games, wherever. I mean, McCluster was just always down. Well, actually was sitting behind McCluster at a concert a few years ago. It was Kanye West and Jay-Z. And Brandon Flowers was there, Kendrick Lewis. The Chiefs had like a few Ole Miss guys, so McCluster and all the other Ole Miss players were hanging out there. McCluster, yeah, I had a chance to talk to him for a couple of minutes. My brother and I. There were other people who he gave the time of day to. Like, he was just the nicest guy. So when he came back as a member of the Titans and got booed, that did not sit well with me. But fans do that. I mean, some players just leave and they'll boo the hell out of them when they make their return. Logan, you're not the only one. A lot of people keep talking about Jared Wiley. Listen, I think Jared Wiley is going to be good. I'm not going to compare him to like Travis Kelce or Tony Gonzalez, but here's what I'll say. I think in general, lower your expectations with Jared Wiley for his rookie season. I think he'll get snaps in this game. As far as the season goes, I think he gets around, give or take, 20 to 25 targets, maybe a little more than that. But I don't think you're going to see much of Jared Wiley his rookie season. I really don't. I mean, he'll probably get, again, 20 to 30 targets, maybe a touchdown or two. But I think, in the future, and consider this, that the Chiefs recently extended Noah Gray. I think you'll see the Chiefs utilize a 2 tight end set a lot with Noah Gray and Jared Wiley whenever it is time for Travis Kelce to step away. Obviously, Noah Gray's not going to go away anytime soon. Jared Wiley's on a rookie deal, so he's going to be sticking around for a while. There'll be plenty of opportunities to see him down the road. I just don't think you're going to see much of it this year unless there's an injury with your star tight end, and hopefully that's not the case. Okay, I'll read a couple more here and get out of here because I know you guys probably need to get ready to set up for your NFL Sunday here. Paramount Plus and Peacock carrying the Chiefs game. Okay, why would Peacock carry a CBS game though? I mean, again, I have Sunday ticket. I live in Kansas City, so I don't need to worry about these things. So some of you guys probably know about this better than me. Especially if you live outside of Kansas City. Russell is simmering on the bench, but go Steelers. Oh, wasn't he the starter, or is he still hurt? Bo Jackson got booed with the Raiders. He also played for with the Royals. Yeah, and shit. I'm sure Marcus Allen was booed back there, and now they love him. And Tony Gonzalez was booed, and now they love him too. I mean, go figure. Every fan base does it. It's just, there are certain players you don't do that to. That's just my opinion. I hope so. McCluster left to get paid. Can't be mad at them for getting theirs. Yeah. I do have it on very good authority that McCluster did miss Kansas City. Like, he went to Tennessee and just did not have a good experience. He liked Kansas City way better. Look, I had Damon Heward on the podcast last month. And he was talking about how he and his wife, they almost chose to stay in Kansas City. And that was, even though like Dan Marino, surrounded by him, won championships as a backup in New England. But he said that Kansas City was like the best time he and his wife had. And there are a lot of guys who choose to stay. Trent Green chose to stay in Kansas City. There are some people who don't stay, but they make the effort to come back a lot. You see that. I don't think Eric Hosmer lives in Kansas City, but it seems like he comes and visits often here. So, Kansas City's a pretty good place. So that's why, again, it just didn't sit well when certain guys get booed. But again, every fan base does it. Man, by the way, for those of you who are watching through YouTube, thank you guys. I'm trying to get more and more. I'm trying to utilize the YouTube channel more. My lazy ass just chose. I started the channel last season. But I did not do anything with it last year. I'm doing a lot more with it this year, and we're starting to see far more commenters on YouTube than we did last year. So thank you guys. I see you guys, Ruben, Wink, Lego, Witchy, a lot of you guys, Michael, a lot of you guys are commenting from YouTube. So that is awesome. I appreciate for those of you who are watching on YouTube. Some of you guys are following both through Facebook and YouTube, and that is greatly appreciated as well. I just commented with the link. So if you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. So I do appreciate all the YouTube. I forgot to do this on Instagram, though. I like doing it on Instagram because there were a lot of people who commented and watched when we did a podcast earlier this week. I forgot to do it today. I'll try not to do it later today. But the one thing I don't like is I can't get Instagram comments to be displayed. So I actually have to go over to Instagram to read the comments, and I hate that. Casey isn't just a city or a team; it's a way of life. Any barbecue, yeah, probably. Yeah, Christian Okoye. Christian Okoye. That guy's always back. Where does he live? I've heard of Vegas. I don't know where he lives. I've seen him spend a lot of time in Vegas as well. Kind of makes me wonder if that's where he lives. But yeah, he is back in Kansas City often, very often. Okay. No notification from YouTube, my guy, but I got the notification on Facebook. Yeah, check your settings, because as soon as I went live, I got a notification on my phone. So that might depend on your setting. And listen, here's the thing: I don't care as long as you guys are listening from one of them. I'm just trying to bolster the YouTube numbers a little bit, since it's still fairly new. I noticed, like, whenever I post about it, that's when more people actually go and subscribe, because not everyone sees it the first time. So I got yeah. And by the way, for those saying that you're following on both, I appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Steele will get his first touchdown today, Mr. Lizardhead. See, here's the weird part about YouTube is I'm reading names like Witchy and Mr. Lizardhead and Lego My Ego, whereas on Facebook I'm actually seeing people's names. But no, I like it. It's still cool. Southern California, which he says, okay, that's good to know. That is good to know. I'm hearing Christian McCaffrey is coming to Kansas City. I have not heard this. Not sure. That'd be nice, but I feel like he's kind of on the tail end of his career anyway. So I doubt that. Yeah, it is easier to watch on YouTube. So, like, if you're watching on YouTube, you can actually go away from the YouTube app and go to, Twitter or Instagram and do whatever you need to do there. And on the screen on your phone, you can still watch and listen to me as you're browsing through your phone. So that is the nice part about YouTube compared to Facebook. So yeah, I appreciate those who are subscribed, and please share the videos if you can. Let a friend know. That always greatly helps out as well. Okay. I am going to go ahead and get out of here. I think we've caught up on the comments. Thank you, guys. This was a fun pregame live chat. Reminder, we'll be back at halftime. We'll be doing a halftime live stream. I'll try to remember to do this on Instagram. But, yeah, we'll be doing it on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we'll also be doing this after the game. We'll be doing the Chiefs Zone podcast live after the game. Hey, phone lines will be open. All you got to do is click the link, turn on your audio and your video, whether it's from your computer, your phone, tablet, however it is you want to call in. We will have that after the game. So the Chiefs Zone podcast will be live after the game as soon as it goes final. So please join me for that. All right, guys, enjoy your NFL Sunday. I'm out. Talk to you guys later.